And you like the Vince Staples show, I think.
Me? No, I wasn't a fan of it. I felt like
I don't like nothing, bro. Damn it.
No, I felt like the Vince Staples show. I feel like the Vince Staples show tried to do Afro surrealism without understanding surrealism. Like their stuff would just come out of nowhere. Whereas whereas Atlanta, their weird stuff, you could rewatch the episode and be like, oh, I get how he got there. With the Vince Staples show, that was my biggest thing. When they tried to do surrealist elements, it just happened. And also, I blame it. It's clearly that Netflix didn't give him a real writer's room. Like a lot of the episodes felt disconnected. Where Atlanta, it all felt like the same series. So, like my favorite episode of the Vince Staples show, because it used his characters better, was the family reunion episode. If the entire show would have been like that, like it wrote his mother and his girlfriend well, but then you go to the episode at the park, and it's like it just doesn't work. Like the scene with the fried chicken, it's like that comes out of nowhere. That feels like they wanted to do something surrealist, but it doesn't. It just comes out of nowhere. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think I could accept the difference in having a writer's room. The fact that Vince Staples, this was his first written anything or first written a TV show. So I still for as compelling as it is, I still think that's worth a valiant effort. But I'd also argue to say that like we might be even talking about scope. Whereas like there's a lot of plot beats or emotional beats in the Vince Staples show where I don't know, like there's like a more base part of me that finds like the chaos he decides to go into, the moment and the type of surrealism that he attempts to do, finds it more either cathartic or I find like it makes more sense to me. And so I don't want to make that into like a skill argument where I think it might be more of a taste subjective argument. Because my biggest complaint with Donald Glover has been that with leftists and like the same thing I have with a lot of leftists with that you wear your education too much on your sleeve and like you come off very ivory tower. Like there is a sense in which like yeah I like Atlanta because also I'm an art nerd and like I like surrealism and I've experienced surrealism. So like the fact that he's doing it in a very formal like cinematic way hits me because like I'm like oh prestige. However, it's a comedy. Comedy and prestige aren't necessarily in the same ballpark. So in some senses, I felt like I could show the Vince Staples show to more of the homies because like the fact that they have that a whole episode about being like trying to get a rental car and the wild or the wild shit that happens at like fast food restaurants, like that world feels more accessible. And I wanted to see comedy happen there in a place where Donald Glover might not actually put it. Because he's either not as comfortable or he has access to like funnier places.
And before we move on, also I feel like with the Vince Staples show, because it's clear they didn't have a real budget, that it doesn't work because he needs to play he plays the straight man, but he doesn't have like they call it like I don't know what the exact character type. Tiff actually might know the real name, but he doesn't have like a Kramer or he doesn't have the Dairies to bounce off of him. So he's too normal in that world. So his deadpan expressions doesn't work. He needs multiple characters. Like typically with sitcoms, you got 3 people, and it's only Vince Staples in most of his episodes.
Or you would have like the main guy be crazy, right? And then in a normal world, but Vince Staples is like the normal guy in a crazy world or in crazy situations. But is he? I've never seen it because I think it's funnier in interviews, and I've a toddler, so I'm not watching TV. But he doesn't seem like, I don't know does he take himself too seriously in the show where he's like, this is crazy? Like, is he willing to be funny to be a straight guy? Does that make sense?
Yeah, to me, the way they wrote his character, he's too much of a straight man for the situation. Like, to me, if I rewrote it, if I fixed it, I would have gone through episode 1 where he's in jail. And that kid who's like, oh yeah, I'm here all the time, and he's telling them about everybody in jail. He should have been a member of the cast, and that would have been the guy to play off of Vince Staples. Like he somehow understands all the crazy shit that happens, and Vince Staples is like, whatever. Like they should have had him as a main character, and then I would have had his girl in the group too. So that's at least 3 people.
Donald Glover's
the funding dried up. Like, I mean, ultimately, spoilers. Netflix canceled after the second season. I, to be fair, have not finished the second season for a lot of the reasons that we're talking about. Where I do feel like the writing lost its way, or what you start to feel like, oh yeah, only one person is writing this, and that person is 100% Vince Staples, and Vince Staples is not spending a lot of money. Like, he's not in no K-pop boot camp, being taught by like the masters of screenwriting. Like, he's probably on YouTube like the rest of us, with a creative mind, but like the execution needs a team.
To me, I feel like a lot of the Vince Staples episodes, some of them felt like they should have been 7-minute skits at best. Like the bank episode that dragged on. I'm like, this is a funny concept if it went on for 7 minutes.
Disagree.
But it just carried on so too long.
Also, like, Netflix typically does like 2 seasons per show. That's like their model, and they also go with like mini rooms. So like, if he did have a writer's room, it'd probably be just 2 other people. So you're not really being able to bounce ideas, because if you're in there with Vince Staples, like, what he says goes. And if he doesn't want to do something, he's not going to do it, even if it is going to be the funnier option.
Right.
Or you have like Atlanta, where it's like Donald Glover's brother is the one in charge.
That's true.
And they have a big ass room.